Hi guys, gals and non-binary pals, it's me, Budget with Me. Today we are setting up March's budget in a very bizarre way. We're also setting up the budget breakdown. If you want to know more about my budget breakdown and how I will be spending my money this month, please stay tuned. So if you want to know how to create this or something similar to this, refer to my older video, which if I figure out how to put in the cards, it should be in the cards. So this is what March looks like for us. We're in our bootleg budget. So the term bootleg budget for me means I can't afford an Erin Condren at the moment that I have my eyes on, so I'm just gonna fake it till I can afford one. To create this, I had a blank piece of card and I drew out the squares to what I thought it was gonna be. I used a Secura Jelly Roll Moonlight to do the tops and the bottom washi, and I made the larger washi by cutting something out of a magazine. I've done the calendar and I've also done the monthly breakdown to the end so we can plan out my budget towards the end. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to plan out my budget breakdown. So we'll start with this one. This is the total breakdown for our month. I've seen a lot of other sticker budgeters on YouTube and they tend to get paid every 2 weeks, but it's pretty normal in the UK to get paid once a month. Me and my partner are slightly different. We get paid every 4 weeks, so we actually get paid 13 times a year. Sometimes I need to pay for some bills and sometimes I don't need to pay for bills at all. So the pay period I'm looking at now is from the 12th of March to the 9th of April. The average of my income from my main job, £2,050. And then income 2, which would be my boyfriend's, comes in on the exact same day, and he will normally get about 1,150. So that gives us about £3,200 to play with. When it comes to our bills, so I have a master to-do list of bills, which is really messy, so I won't show you, but the master to-do list has got all my bills that I normally get from the 1st to the 28th of the month. But because our pay period starts on the 12th, I'm going to only look at bills that start on the 12th. The first bill will be our internet, and it is almost always £27.35. Then we have my car insurance, which is £23.37. Interesting story. I have only been driving 2 years, and my original amount that I was paying was £88, and it was auto-renewing and I didn't realise that that was a thing. So I called up the insurance company and said, oh, what would be the quote for the new year? So they said, oh, it'd be about £75. I was like, oh, okay, then fine. But then I cancelled it anyway and looked around, and with the same company I found it for £23.37. So it's always worthwhile having a look at that. And then on the 25th, we have Sky. But I have recently called up Sky and downgraded a lot of our packages. So normally we would pay £52.99. But because I downgraded, we're slowly gonna get less and less. So this month it's gonna be £41.73. Next month it's gonna be £25. And then the month after that, a price hike goes in, so it's gonna go to £26 after that. Okay, on the 28th, we do have a lot of bills that come out. So the first one is council tax, is £154. Phone bill for my boyfriend, and that is always £55.19. We get to downgrade in December, so in December, the 28th, I will be downgrading to SIM only, which will be significantly less. Pet insurance is on the 28th as well, and that is £23.28. And then also on the 28th is our rent. So we are currently renting and we're looking to save up to buy a house, but we need to deal with our debt first when we get to this section. but rent for us is pretty reasonable for the house that we've got. It's £885. Then on the 1st, as it rolls around, we have our TV license, which is £13.37. We have 2 cars. We have a car each. So we have to pay the DVLA on the 1st, £26.24, which is literally the price of 2 cars. So I think it's £13.12 each every month for the road tax. Car insurance 2, so my boyfriend's car insurance, which is £30.56. His renews in a couple of months, so we'll be looking at that because he's been driving a lot longer than me, and we're not quite sure why mine is so much more cheaper than his. And then on the 4th, we also have car service. We have never done sinking funds in the past, so we just wait for bills to come up. We both got brand new, like quite new cars, so they were due for their 2nd service. So his was due in February and mine was due in March, and that was going to be £250 each, and we just didn't save for it whatsoever. So we were going to start a sinking fund for next year, but they offered this finance option with 0% APR and 0% interest, so it was really, really good. So instead of paying the £250 there and then, we could pay £204 and then pay a small amount each month up until December, and then we would get the next service free, which we thought was a really good idea. So we're going to do it for both, but for now we know that on the 4th it is going to be £26.40. Then on the 7th we have Netflix, which for us is £9.99. We are going to look at that because I've seen people have it cheaper, and we don't really use the HD functions or anything, so we're going to look at that, see if we can get that a little bit cheaper. But at the moment we're talking like £1, £2, so it's not a massive deal for us. We then have 2 bills after that on the 10th, but because we get paid on the 9th, I don't need to worry about them in this pay period. So I'm just going to count up, make sure I've got everything that I should. Oh, I've forgotten what have I forgotten. Okay, I've forgotten the Apple bill on the 1st. I don't know what this is for, I don't know why I pay it, but I've got to look at this as well. It's £4.49. I did recently change the settings for my photos because I don't need to pay to have additional storage at the moment because it's quite a big phone. So I've reduced that, so hopefully that will reduce that amount, and hopefully when we come to the actual part of it, when we do the adding up at the end of the month, hopefully that'll be that. And then we have some variable bills that happen every month, but they can happen on any day. So I'm going to put a V in. So the first one is for cat food. Because they're getting older, they have a bit of a stricter diet. So we buy specialist food for them. So that's £28.49. Then we're going to pay for car service too, because we're hoping that the deal that we got for my boyfriend's car, that we're going to be able to get for that. So I don't know what date that's coming in, but I want to budget for the £26.40 again. My boyfriend and I, we have some habits, cost us £206.80 each month. So I'll add that up at the end. Then for debt, we have a store card. The minimum on this is usually £40. And if the minimum drops below this, we'll tend to pay £40 anyway. We also have a credit card, and the minimum for that is normally £120. So at the moment that credit card is close to maxed out. We haven't spent on it in a couple of months. So we also have a personal loan. We are more than halfway through paying that off, so that'll be paid off towards the end of this year. And the minimum for that is £200.92. We also have a car each that we pay off. So my car, and that is £169.49. There's going to be a balloon note of about £3,000 at the end of that, and I want to have a sinking fund ready for that in 2 years' time to be able to pay for that. And then my boyfriend's car, we'll call car 2, and his is £249.69. The last one is our overdraft fees. So to be in that all month, I have to pay £18, which is pretty reasonable. So out of all the debt that I pay off, the overdraft will likely be the last one that I pay off. And then My boyfriend and I, we give each other monthly cash, so this would be like a cash envelope, but we don't tend to use envelopes. I have cash, so my spending money, so I can spend this on whatever I want, but I tend to spend it on lunch at work and things like that. I have £80, which would be only fair if he had £80 as well. I have petrol, so we both are key workers, we both have to go to work, so we both have to pay for our petrol to go to work. So I'm going to give myself £80. His car, however, he's going to get now £100. And then for groceries, £200. Okay, so we've got this one. Let's go to the other side. So sinking funds. So we have got a couple of sinking funds that we started last month. They don't have very much in them whatsoever. So our first sinking fund is for our water bill. So water comes out every 6 months. It's always a surprise to us, even though it's come out for every 6 months for the last 8 years we've been together. It's usually about £150, but we're never prepared for it, and I want us to be prepared for it. So we already have £25 in that saved from last month, and I'd like to save £25 again. So I want to start building that. This I don't do with cash, I keep it digitally, so I move it into a separate bank account that we have. The next one is Christmas. We'd like to save something like maybe £600. We're not in a position to be able to do that at the moment. So at the moment we have nothing in there, and I don't think we're going to be able to contribute anything to it this month either. Next month we should be able to. The third one is an emergency fund. So this currently has nothing in it. I don't plan to put anything into it. However, should I have anything extra this month at all, the first place it'll go is into the emergency fund. So birthdays, we have nothing, and I'm not planning to put anything in. Amazon, so we currently have £7 in there, and we're planning to put £7 in there. And then we have medical. So this has £5 in it already, and we're going to put another £5 in there. We'd like to save for holidays. We currently have £0 in there, and I don't plan to put anything in there. And then I'd like to start saving for that £3,000 balloon knot to pay for my car. Currently has £0, and we're not planning to put anything in there. So we currently have 37 as a balance. We're planning to put in 37. Hiya, editing me here. I'm about to make a really big mistake with my numbers, which is going to throw my whole month off. So the lesson I've learned is to A, use a calculator, B, double check my numbers. I'm going to correct it in post as well. It will be not so subtle. Back to the video. So altogether this is going to be 1,767,66. Our debt altogether is going to be 798.10. Our monthly cash adds up to 540. Okay. So let's come to close. So we have our income, then we have our bills, monthly cash, debt, sinking funds, we have savings, and then what we have as a one-off this month is we have car service. And that is because I did not create a sinking fund for it long enough ago. So there is no money to pay for that, so it has to come out of my wages. So that is going to cost me £204. So we're projecting the income to be 3,200. We're projecting our bills to be 1,767.66. Our monthly cash to be 540. Our debt to be 798.10, and our sinking funds to be £35. So all in all, once we've taken all of what I've planned to come off of our budget, I'm going to end up with minus £144.76. which is scary. So for what we do is we wait and see what we've got paid. So I know I did a day of overtime, and we know that he has got he's got a bit of very small pay rise. So it may be that that extra £144 is going to be covered, and it's absolutely fine. If it's not covered, we will go back and I will take from some of these monthly cash, because I can't take from here and I can't take from here, and I shouldn't take from here. So what we'll do is when on the 12th, when we do get paid, I'll do another video and then we'll look at what it's actually going to mean for us in our budget. So we're here at the calendar section. So this is bootlegs, and I think it looks okay. So I've already done my top washi. I've already laid everything out. Everything's blank. I've set up some highlighter tabs so that I know what each thing's going to be for. I'm going to plan out what the month is going to be, and this is where I plan a week at a time, so a Friday to a Thursday, because I get paid on a Friday. Let's start with all of our bills. So I've chosen purple for bills that I have from the 12th are, then I have car insurance on the 19th, and that is going to be $27.55. Is that right? Internet on the 15th, $27.35. $23.37. On the 25th, I have Sky. How much is Sky going to be? $41.73. On the 28th, I have 3 bills. The first one is phone bill 2, which is $55.19. Then we have pet insurance, which is $23.28. And we have rent, which is $885. And that's all we have for bills up until the end of March, but we will have more bills within this pay slip. Next, we have our debt, and then we have to pay off our debt. So on the 13th, overdraft normally comes out. So we're going to put overdraft. But I don't know how much it's going to be, so maximum £18. Then on the 15th, we have car 2. We have car 2, which is $249.69. Then on the 21st, we have car 1, which is $169.49. And on the 28th, we pay off our loan, which is £200.92. So this is what we have for our bills and our debt from the 12th up to the 31st. So there's not much in there, but there will be some more in the next calendar that I set up. So as I check in each week, I'll be using, every time I spend petrol from the petrol fund that I've made, every time we spend a bit of groceries, I'll use these and fill it in, depending on, and it also depends on what budget, because at the moment we're looking at £144 overspend, and then there might not be very much spending actually as well. So if there's any unbudgeted, they're doing red, but I really can't afford any unbudgeted. And also in February, I didn't have any unbudgeted, which is really good. So here we are. This is our calendar, ready for us to start checking in. Should I write payday on here? I'll write payday. So I put payday there. So this is our calendar budget from the 12th up until the 31st with our bills and our debt put in already, so we can start checking in and start to use some other colours and make it look a bit more colourful. We have also made our budget breakdown as well. So we've got our projected income, what our bills are most likely to be, what our debt probably will look like, and also our best case scenario for monthly cash and probably what should happen for sinking funds, which has given us a overspend of 144.76. Depending on what income comes in and what some of our minimums look like, we will readdress that on payday. So stay tuned for that. The first thing I'm going to correct is where I've put 26.40 down for the car service. That was actually doubled, so I've quadrupled it this month for no reason. So it's actually 13.20, and then the car service too will be 13.20 there as well. But obviously I don't know when that's going to come in. And now what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to add this up. So now I have a potential debt repayment of 64.64. Now, depending on how much we get paid, that could be more, but yeah, it looks a lot more comfortable. I'd like to put some actual money into these sinking funds as well. So let's see what happens on the 12th. If you like the content today, please make sure you subscribe. I have 2 subscribers so far, and they are me and my boyfriend. So if you'd like to join the family, please make sure you subscribe. It'd be lovely to hear any comments about anything that you'd like to see for the next video. So until then, thank you very much. Please consider subscribing. Thanks so much.